So I recently got this new job, which is very different from my other job. Different kind of uniform, a little dressier than my usual day-to-day, co-workers instead of teammates.
I usually travel in my off season, that's normal, but now it's to Denver instead of Russia to play. Excuse me, equal pay.
After 17 seasons playing in the WNBA, this job is different. I'm working in the Denver Nuggets front office as a basketball operations associate in the off season. An amazing opportunity for tons of reasons.
But don't look at me like that. I'm not retiring. I get that a ton. My crazy ass is still playing. But it is something you have to think about. So this job with the Nuggets is basically an opportunity to dip my toe into something new while I'm still playing.
And this dipping my toe in, well, something you should know about me is that dipping my toe in is a fundamental Subaru disposition thing. It's one essential aspect of my personality. I'm shy by nature. You may not see it when you watch me on the court now, but early on in college and my first few Olympics, I struggled with being assertive.
But that struggle is largely in the past, which is why it was so strange when I started this new job with the Nuggets. I found myself kind of sitting back, letting everyone else talk, not really saying much, dipping my toe in.
It had been a long time since I had faced this part of myself.
Last time I can remember was over 10 years ago. It was 2008, my second Olympics, and I became the starting point guard. The reins handed down to me by none other than Dawn Staley. She had retired, but there were still some OG. Actually, I'm an OG now. At my age, these are like double OGs. Lisa Leslie, Tina Thompson, these were now my teammates. I mean, they were like the original WNBA commercial, "We Got Next." They're the Mount Rushmore of women's basketball. For me, it was surreal. So my nature kicked in. In new situations, I have this tendency to be on the outskirts at first and then work my way in. Maybe that's okay socially, but as a starting point guard in the Olympics, that's a no-go. There just isn't enough time. This position requires you to be a leader. Training is quick, you're playing in front of the world, you have to get your team on the same page and fast. And no, it is not acceptable to win anything but a gold medal. So, there's that.
Dawn had played on the team in 2004. In 2008, she became the assistant coach. Early on in training, Dawn took me aside and said, "Hey, listen, it doesn't matter who these people are. You need to be the one talking. You need to be the assertive one." And I was just like, man, number one, she's seeing my nature, my shyness was showing, and it's getting in the way of my play. And number two, damn it, I've been hearing this since I was 14.
When I was 14, I played competitive basketball for an AAU team. From 7th grade through senior year of high school, I had the same AAU coach. Her name was Jill Cook. Jill is a tough coach, but a fun coach. The kind of coach who made sure that when we went on a trip, we went to an amusement park every time. When we were traveling, we would get these huge 12-seater vans. And let me remind you something. This is a team from Queens. So none of us had, well, I was from Long Island, I came in front, but most of them were from Queens. None of them had cards, they had Metro cards, you know what I'm saying? So she would take us in this 12-seater van and just let us drive in the parking lot. We each got a turn. This is the kind of coach she was. It was awesome. She was fun and not that much older than us, so it was a good vibe. But on the court, she was really tough to play for. In all the good ways, but just really tough. She pushed us and challenged us. She had one way, and it was tough love. Not in a bad way, but she wasn't afraid to get into you. She wasn't afraid to correct the mistakes, point things out, yell at you. I have this memory of Jill. Well, of her yelling at me. A lot. Constantly yelling at me to shoot the ball, all the time. Which is funny in retrospect because what does every kid that plays basketball want to do? They want to shoot, 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 and then shoot it again. I didn't want to shoot. Why? I was shy. I didn't want the attention. I was one of those kids who had all the skills of a great player, but I was still dipping my toe in. Shy to show everything I had at once. Jill, well, she tried all sorts of things to get me in the game past my toes, to be assertive, to communicate, to lead. Look, I was never the kid that got up at 6 a.m. to get my 1,000 shots in. I've never been the player to come early and stay late. Don't get me wrong, I get my work in, but what I needed wasn't ball handling or shooting. I already kind of had that part to some degree. For me, what I needed was mental. I needed to feel confident enough to hold the spotlight. I needed to learn leadership. At the end of the AAU season, Jill wrote every player a letter, a sort of report card. The summer between 9th and 10th grade, she wrote me one that I've kept to this day. Now, this letter has survived So many moves, from my childhood home, through college, to Seattle, various storage points along the way. I kind of have this box of things that fall into a sentimental category, and Jill's letter stays in there. I keep it in this box, but I don't even need to reference it, because I'll never forget what she wrote.
Sue, I talked to you a lot about leadership. Please understand that leaders may not ever say a word or hold a team meeting. Some of the best leaders simply go out and give it everything they possibly have to give.
Others arrive before and leave after everyone else. But the kind of leader I'd like to see you become is one who knows what their team needs, whether it's a basket, a rebound, an encouraging word, or maybe it's just when you let everyone know that you want the ball. Your personality might not always fit into this mold, but your talent demands it of you. In a tight situation, people will be looking for you. You can't be looking for somebody else. Whether you're having a good game or a bad game, a good week or a bad week, you have to always believe in yourself because so many other people believe in you. Sue, I will expect a lot of you, both over the winter and next summer. Why do you think that is? Because I know you can handle it. You have a tremendous amount of natural ability. Your confidence level should match your ability. Do not allow yourself to be complacent. Do not try to fit into the crowd or into the game. Do not become a player who had great potential. Become a great player. I feel lucky to have had someone who kept it that real at that early of an age. Because when you're a good player, a lot of people like to blow smoke. I haven't pulled that letter out in a long time, but no matter how much time passes, the line that always sticks with me is this: do not become a player that had great potential. Become a great player. Becoming a great player meant I had to shoot, I had to speak up, I had to be assertive. What this meant to me was that I had to develop two different personalities. I could be shy off the court, but on, I had to lead my team. Back to the new gig. Initially, I was shy Sue, listening, observing, sitting back, keeping my comments to myself. In Denver, though, it's commonplace to be put on the spot in a front office meeting. The group is usually discussing players, and we'll just kind of throw out random questions. One of my very first days, they did this to me. Out of nowhere, kind of like being called out in 6th grade math class. Hey Sue, who do you like better, player X or player Y? Hesitant to go out on any limbs in the fear of being wrong, I gave an answer that just highlighted the positives of both. Kind of, I like the... Before I could even finish, one of the guys cut me off. Kind of funny. He goes, that's boring. That's just the safe answer. I could literally feel my body slowly start to slump back into my chair. But then I caught myself. Thought about Jill's letter and how it served as a roadmap for everything. I think about what I had to overcome, not just at age 14, but at age 18, at age 22, pretty much every step of the way. The person who dips her toe in is still very much a part of my personality, but it's not the person I need on the court, and it's not the person they need at the Nuggets. So like I said, I catch myself. I course correct. I reminded myself I'm here because I have a different perspective, and that I didn't need to be status quo with it. I resist the urge to sit back. I think, you're here for a reason. Let your confidence match your abilities. So before the subject changed, I jumped back in, casually said, you right. That was lame. Then picked a player I liked and got right in the middle of the debate. It sounds small, but for me it was a big win. My point is, I learned that I couldn't just dip my toe in. I had to cannonball! So, here's to everyone who helped me come out of my shell, but especially to Jill Cook.